Yo, what's happening, everybody? This is Maurice back again with another video, and I know I'm kind of out of my typical room, but you know, I was gonna wait till I get home to be able to do this video, but I got a hold of the SpiderHam and Spider Suit um, hero packs, and they are crazy enough. Even with me not being in the house right now, I had to sit down and record this because these heroes are kind of ridiculous. I think SpiderHam a little bit more than Spider Suit, but I'll get more into that. This video, I'm going to focus more on SpiderHam. I want to play a few more games with Spider Suit. There's a few mechanics that I'm loving from her right now, but I want to try her in different spaces because I think I found one lane where she extremely excels. But with Spider Ham, I think that this guy is up in that S tier. I think that he is phenomenal in this game. I didn't do a video originally on Spider Ham because I thought it was a joke. You know, it came out on April Fool's Day. You know, I had the intent, well, not the intentions, but I had the suspicion that it could be real. You know, this could be Marvel Champions version of Barkham Horror. You know, where they had the all animals kind of sleuthing uh pack that they had for Arkham Horror. And I figured like so there's a chance, you know, that this could be real. But as the days going by, you know, since April when they announced them, excuse me, that okay, this is going to be a legitimate thing, and I wasn't excited for this guy at all. It's not that I don't like Spider Ham as a hero, as much as from the card set that they showed on the reveal on Fantasy Flight's website, it seemed like it was too strong. Like the cards were so strong that this can't be real. So they would have to find a way to adjust these cards, right? No, like they kept those same cards that they showed, and this dude is ridiculous. You know, he comes in, got the cards right here all laid out. You know, he has 12 hit points, 211. It doesn't look that impressive, but he have the uh his on his hero side, his hero ability, his response after Spider Ham take any amount of damage, place a tune counter on him. So it's roughly similar to what we've seen with Venom, right? Where Venom, you purposefully take one damage and you get a wild resource, whereas with him, he, regardless of the different instances of attacks that he gets, you know, he just gets these tune counters stacked on him as he take damage. So if you get attacked by something and then you take some indirect damage and then maybe you have to take a damage for a card that you use, whatever the case may be, that all counts as him, you know, taking damage. So and another thing that I think that makes him so cool and strong is the fact that he makes this card amazing. So the Great Responsibility is a zero cost justice card where when any amount of threat would be placed on the scheme, you take it as damage instead. You know, this card was okay. There wasn't a lot of decks that I would put this in. I would put this in a Hulk deck. I'd put it in a Spider-Man deck, a Drax deck, maybe. Somebody with some high health. This is zero cost, so it's something that's easy to play for some of these heroes that struggle with the lower hand counts. But with him to be able to use a card, I wouldn't say that's useless as much as it's something that's not used often. And to bring an extreme amount of value, this is Fantasy Flight. Thank you for doing this because this is how you make the game have such a strong longevity. Is even cards that we don't necessarily use as often are starting to be brought back into the fray. This is this is what will make Marvel Champions last for a long time. You know, we started to see that with Miles Morales, and you may be able to argue War Machine, you know, where we start to see these shield cards come into play, but specifically with Miles Morales, where he had all of these shield cards that allow you to reuse them, or you know, you have the Monica Chain where she comes in and she gets a surveillance team brought into play for free. So it encourages you to be able to use those cards that were no longer efficient in the meta of that time. But when Miles Morales came out, it's like all of these shield cards are now more viable to use because now there's a little extra incentive to use them, and they now have become more efficient. You don't really either have to pay for them, or there's more efficiency to the amount of damage that they do, or more efficiency to the amount of threat that they remove. So I'm so glad that they're starting to go in this direction with Marvel Champions, where um, we're starting to see these cards that are coming out that make these older cards much more viable to play. Where I don't feel like I have all of these cards in my collection and I don't even touch them anymore. I can throw them away and it would mean nothing. Well, now thanks to Spider Ham, thanks to Miles Morales, and what I'm hoping we will see from the X-Men cycle. And we're starting to see cards that may not have gotten a lot of love from the community that's starting to make this comeback because of these newer cards that are coming out. Now that I went on that tangent, I get back to Spider Ham. But I think that with his swinging web pick, the card that does 3 damage. Excuse me, it's a 3 cost attack card that does 6 damage and confuse that enemy. I love this card when I played, so I always play 2-handed. So I played him alongside um, Spider Suit against a handful of villains that I like to test either specific decks with or just to see how that hero plays. So Absorbing Man is one of them. I like Taskmaster, so I think the Rise of the Red Skull is a good litmus test for heroes to see how they perform in the game. I think that the hero because the core set, you have Rhino that's pretty straightforward, and then the difficulty ramps so high with Claw and Ultron that it's a little hard to um, kind of get somebody in the game with the core set if they're struggling so much with trying to figure out this system. And you got Claude as gaining those 2 extra cards which make for his attacks or schemes, and then um well, I think it's just his attack. I'm trolling. And then he has a high scheme, and then he has all these minions. They're tough, it's a lot that's happening. But I think that Rise of the Red Skull does a really good job with having some medium level villains that do just enough to put some pressure on you, but not make you fold in a turn or two compared to, Claw and Ultron that can put so much pressure that the game can end so quickly, right? But anyways, yeah, so I went up against Absorbing Man and a few other villains just to kind of test them out. And Spider Ham just shines so much in every single game because he can do a little bit of everything, as well as um, he has a high enough uh, hit point pool where he's at 12 hit points, and he's just, man, he can just do so much with those counters. So you want to take a lot of damage with his cartoon physics. He has 2 of these in his deck, and so when your identity would take any amount of damage, discard this card, wiggle your body, and prevent all but one of that damage. Right, and that's so much damage that can be mitigated. This is the anti Ronin card right here, man. When Ronin swinging at you for 13, cartoon physics. He only hits you for 1, and you get a resource on top of that. That's crazy. So to see Spider Ham come into this game, I had no expectations for this dude. So I'm on cloud 9 with playing with this guy. He's definitely going. If I had to judge where he's going to end up in the eyes of the community, he's going to be S tier. I think he's not quite as strong as Doctor Strange. I would argue Captain America is still stronger than him, but put him in that Captain Marvel, um, Spider Woman range. He's up there. Scarlet Witch. He's up there in that echelon of the power levels because of what you can do. And I've only played a few games, and and you see all that he can take care of. I mean, even the Petulant Pig. There's so much value in the 0 cost where you have the villain attack you. If you got a cartoon physics down, it don't matter. They're only going to do one. So if you're willing to risk it, and it's an interrupt, it's not a forced interrupt, which you can choose when you want to use that card, right? So the villain attacks you, and then you draw 3 cards. That's crazy. So if the villain even do damage to you, you get a tune counter, which can be used as a resource at some point, and you draw 3 cards off of taking some damage. Depending on that villain. you might end up only taking one damage. So that's just so crazy. Yeah, I think that this hero is phenomenal, man. I wasn't expecting much out of him, so maybe that's playing into my thoughts on him. But I think that he's going to excel in justice. I think that protection can work with him pretty well since you're wanting to take on so many different attacks. I can see aggression being a good one for him too. Leadership, I think leadership would be kind of the catch-all. Well, I guess that's pretty much what the aspect is, anyway. So he's usable with leadership. I think that he don't need it, but if you want to build a leadership deck around the Web Warriors or whatever, go for it. You can even do it around Avengers and still kill it, right? So or Guardians, and he'll still perform. Yeah, this hero is strong. I'm going to play a few more games with Spider Suit and give my thoughts on her in a separate video because I think that I'm still trying to figure her out and make sure I give her just due before I grade her because I'm not saying that she's weak. I just am still figuring her out. So um yeah, I'll have a separate video for her. I do it because she comes with some protection cards and I think that protection can be a good uh aspect for her, but I think so far where I really like her is aggression with the minion summoning excess damage roll. Like that seems to be her bread and butter right now. But I'll play some more games and maybe have a video out tomorrow or Tuesday or something talking about it. But I think that I just need a few more games with her. But in the meantime, Spider-Ham is phenomenal. I think that he's one of the better, stronger heroes for sure in the game, and he's going to skyrocket in people's eyes. I think that he's super fun to play. He's super fun. I would even have fun teaching him to somebody because he's just that cool. His all of his cars are super goofy. They have you doing stuff like sticking your tongue out at the villain and high fiving people. It's ridiculous, but it's that silliness of Arkham Horror, and I think that there's nothing wrong with having that kind of comedic value with heroes in the game that there are people that start gravitating towards that silliness, and hopefully we get to see something like this with Deadpool one of these days because I think that it can definitely be pulled off. But thank you for coming in and checking out the video. Hit that like button, subscribe if you already haven't, and let me know what you think about Spider-Ham if you got your hands on them. If you think that I've said something that you don't agree with, let me know. I'm excited to hear what you have to say. This is such a surprise for me. I had minimal to no expectations of him because I didn't think that what they showed for him in that original announcement that any of it would be real. And to know that all right, it's coming into fruition, are they going to have to change everything? And they didn't. They kept the exact same cards, and he turns out to be a monster. He might be one of my favorite heroes as time go by. I just think he's that fun. But yeah, let me know what you all think. Once again, thank you for stopping by. I hope y'all have a wonderful day.